My name's Belinda. My YouTube channel is Beautiful Fibers. I am a crafter, but above crafter, I consider myself a knitter. I want this channel to represent my knitting crafts as well as my other crafts. But you'll find that the majority of the items will be knitted. I want to do that as an introduction first. Second, I am doing something for the very first time this year. This year, I participated in along with Angela from the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. She does a 12 days of cast on. And I did that for the first time this year. I cast on 12 items, 12 projects, and I am really enjoying it. In addition to casting on 12 items, I'm also following her monthly prompts. Every month, she plays a game, she rolls a die, and she chooses items on which to work for that month. So I have been following her lead since February, and I've been trying to do that. So it is now August 2nd. I want to not catch you up, but just start you with where I left off. So I just finished July, and for this YouTube video, which is my first YouTube video ever, I want to show you what I've done for July 2025 as I followed Angela's prompts. So one of Angela's prompts was spinning. As I mentioned, I'm a crafter in general, and I am a beginner spinner. Even though I've been spinning for about 10 or 15 years, my spinning is not great. However, I do enjoy the process. I'm more or less a process person. I enjoy the finished project, but I enjoy the process more. With spinning, I decided, since I'm not a very good spinner, it would be a good idea for me to practice spinning. And whenever I practice something, it's always more fun to practice with someone else. So I am part of a spin group. We meet once a month at our local library, and I take my spinning projects with me. I usually take a drop spindle, even though I do have a spinning wheel. I have no idea where this case came from, but it works out really great for carrying my spindles. And the spin that I worked on during July, oh, I got all tangled, I'm sorry. The spin I worked on during July is this spin, and it's by Keira. I will enter her information in the bottom in my notes. This is a blend of alpaca, Angelina, and merino. As I said, I am not the best spinner in the world. I am hoping once I ply the two together, it will be something. I'm looking for the other part. I'm hoping once I ply both together, it will become something that I can enjoy. Most likely I will use it to knit, I don't know, little stuffies or gnomes or things like that. It's for me, and as I said, I enjoy the process more than the actual final project. So this was my one spin project that I did in July. I actually was an overachiever for July regarding spinning. My son just got a new toy. He bought a 3D printer, and he's been having such a great time with it. So of course, I went online and looked and said, hey, do you think you can print me out a drop spindle? And he said, yeah, I can look for one and try. And he did. So he printed out this drop spindle for me. This wool is from a local natural living history farm in my area. And it's from their local sheep. Their sheep are, I call them mutts because they are of no particular breed. However, the wool is nice and the fiber's nice. And I can spin with this, and I do enjoy it. However, it's a little bit light. It's not as heavy as other spindles that I've used in the past. I didn't talk about the other spindle, I'm sorry. I'll go back and talk about it. When I spun this, I did a park and draft method, which I will talk about later at another time. But I like the way this is coming out. So I think once I apply this will be fine. Since it is very light, I talked to my son because he said he could make it a little bit heavier. But I said, I don't really want to waste more of the product of they called it filament. I don't want to waste more of the filament. So I think for the time being, I'm going to glue like a penny or two, like 2 pennies, one on either side, and see if that will add a little bit of weight to it. You know, so this was the second item that I did in spinning. And my son, not to be outdone, he said, you know, they have another spindle there called a Turkish spindle. I said, oh yeah, I have one of those. So this is the Turkish spindle that he made for me with his 3D printer. This one I haven't tested out yet. Once again, this is a little bit light. I think this will be good for doing like a finer weight of yarn, maybe a lace weight, which is not one that I normally use, but it was fun. I think it'll be fun. The first spindle I showed you is an Ashford drop spindle. I think this was the very first one that I learned how to spin on. I took lessons at a local yarn shop and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am as I mentioned before, a process person, and I'm also a people person. I really enjoy meeting with other crafters and chatting with them and taking classes, and it was just a fun time for me. So that's it for my spinning prompt. The second prompt that she included was one color, making a project using one color. So this was one of my 12 cast-ons that I spoke about earlier. I don't remember the number it was, but this is the Hitchhiker shawl from Martina Behm. It's an older pattern. It's been out for a long time. I tried it several times and I could not get the hang of it. I had a mental block. I have no idea why I couldn't get the hang of it. Finally, for whatever reason, maybe because I'm older, maybe because I just had a little more experience now, it clicked. So this shawl will have 41 peaks in total. Since I got tired of counting all the time, I decided to put a stitch marker every 5 peaks. So I'm at about 31 peaks right now. So I'm over halfway through. So 2 things about this shawl that I want to mention. The yarn I'm using has come from my stash and it's been there a very long time. One second. It was 2 big hanks of yarn in one bag. I was like, oh, this is plenty of yarn. However, I found that I was running low on one of the hanks. I go, okay, I have the other one. But when I was knitting, because I normally knit at home and my house, my lighting inside is just basically table lamps, they look the same. However, when I went out to a yarn shop and knit with friends, I could see a distinct difference in the colors. I don't know that you can see it. This one here is a little more purpley, whereas this one was a little more of a denim color. I figure when I knit it up together, it's going to be a very drastic change. So instead of doing that, I started maybe 10, 15 rows ago, maybe about 15 or 20. I started doing 1 row, 2 rows of each to see if I can get the color to blend in. You can see a slight difference, like the edges look a little more purpley. And then I think I will have like maybe 2 more rounds with this one, and then everything will be this. So the final project will look a little more cohesive. I didn't want to undo at that point. I was too far along to go to stop and undo and make another project. And I actually like it. It's all garter stitch. I love, love, love garter stitch. I could do garter stitch all the time. And yeah, so that was my second project. And it's really squishy. I really love it. Okay. That was my second project, one color. The third prompt that Angela used, let's just set that aside, was crochet. Crocheting, I know how to do. I don't necessarily enjoy crocheting. Not that I don't enjoy it, but if I do it too long, for some reason the action of crocheting bothers my wrists. So I am limited into how much I can crochet comfortably. I can crochet, but comfortably, it's hard. However, she said crochet, so I said, well, let me find a smaller project because I'm used to doing crochet blankets. So I wanted a smaller project than a blanket. But I also wanted something useful, and I wanted to make use of the yarn I still have in stash. And I happened to be going through a book that was given to me by my friend, Nicki. This book is called Cute and Easy Crochet. Learn to crochet with these 35 adorable projects by Nicki Trench. So I flipped through her book and I found a cozy for my French press coffee maker. I love coffee. I try to limit the amount of coffee I drink because coffee doesn't love me as much because I get heartburn. But I do like coffee, and I do like warm coffee. Not necessarily hot, but warm. And my French press coffee maker does not keep my coffee warm. So I use my stash yarn and I crochet a cozy for my French press. This one is a teeny bit larger than it should be. So I'm going to keep this one, but my daughter also loves coffee. So I'm going to make one for her with the same colors and try to make it a little more fitted. This one, I did not cast on the, my chain was not the actual starting number that they recommended because I thought I knew better, of course. So I ended up having to do like a chain on the outside. So with the next one, I'm following the pattern exactly. I had a button and stash. The yarn that I used is leftover yarn from my stash, as I mentioned before. It is mostly patent wool, 100% wool, and a little bit of, I thought it was Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, but I don't think so. I think all of it is patent. So, yeah. So I love this cozy. And I haven't used it, I haven't drank any coffee since then, but I'm actually looking forward to drinking it, seeing if it keeps it a little bit warmer. Fun project. Okay. For prompt number 4, Angela used a YouTube pick. Since this is my first YouTube channel, I don't have a YouTube audience to choose for me, so I just chose something that I wanted to do. I will give you the backstory in this before I show you what I chose. My mom just celebrated her 90th birthday. My mother grew up on a farm in North Carolina, and she, for whatever reason, loves chickens. So even to this day, she has a metal rooster in her front yard. My sister gave it to her as a birthday gift one year, and it sits in her front garden bed, and it just like lords over the flowers. And my mom has the best neighbors. Her neighbor came over and gave my mom a chicken with little baby chicks to go with the rooster. So the rooster looks over the chicken and her flock of chicks. And that's the backstory for the chicken. So my mom also is a crocheter. I taught her to crochet about 15 years ago, and she even though she's 90 now, she still can make scarves, and she enjoys it. You know, I nudge her a bit because, you know, you have to nudge someone sometimes, and she makes scarves, but she does not always necessarily use the entire skein. She might make, if she has the same color, she'll use that for 2 or 3 scarves, and then if she only has a little bit, she will just open up a new skein and not necessarily use the rest of it. So I generally take her leftovers and I'll use it to make other things. I weave also, so generally I'll use it for weaving or just small projects. I combined her stash, her leftovers, and her love of chickens, and I made her an emotional support chicken. So I did not name her. I think my mom is naming her Henrietta. So all of this yarn here, this is Red Heart. It's just left over from her colors that she chose to make scarves. Some of it's scarves, some of it's baby blankets, because she makes baby blankets also. This one here, this little peach color, is left over for mine. And this one I remember distinctly. She bought this yarn from a yarn shop in Virginia when we were on vacation one year. This pattern is by Knitting Tree LA. Also the Knitting Tree LA has a YouTube video to help you if you get stuck with it. It's all garter stitch. As I mentioned, I love garter stitch, and I used circular needles, but I used it, I mean, you can use straight needles, but I used circular needles, and it was using size 7 in Red Heart, size 7 yarn, I'm sorry, size 7 knitting needles, or 4.5 millimeter. This is my second emotional support chicken that I've made, and I love knitting it. However, I always have problems constructing it. There's supposed to be a panel that goes underneath. It's more a diamond shaped panel. I've made it each time, but I cannot get it to fit properly. So for those of you who have made this in the past, please, please, please tell me your secret to getting it to fit properly, because I would love to make more of these, but I just felt a little bit stressed that I couldn't get it fit properly. However, I think she looks fine without it. The only thing that I think I might add in the future, I really like the idea of giving her a few tail feathers. So I might just do like some tail feathers for her. But other than that, I will return her to my mother. I gave it to her and then I took it back again so I can film the video, and I will return it to her and it can go back to sitting on her bed. So this is Henrietta. Right. So in addition to 4 prompts that she uses, that Angela uses for knitting, she also has, she uses a digital spinning wheel on her phone, and I'll put the name of it in my notes because I don't remember the name of it right away. But she uses that, and in that she puts her works in progress, which are things that she might have started and she's in the middle of, or she will also put kits that she has on hand, anything that she has in her house that she hasn't worked on but she wants to work on. She has that on one wheel. And then she has another wheel, and on that second wheel she puts her mending projects. Now I have a lot of mending projects also, and I seem to never get to it. So I decided to do the same thing. So for my mending, I put on mending. I have a black sweater that was given to me by my sister-in-law. Given to me by my sister-in-law several years ago, and I love the sweater, and it's so cozy and warm, and I wear it all winter. It wasn't until this past spring that my sister and we went to a local garden show, and my sister says, you know, you have a hole right there. I didn't know, so I was happy that she pointed out, because it was a pretty obvious hole right in my back where I wouldn't have seen it, and I just marked it here. So I want to mend that, and that was on the July prompt. However, that was one that I did not get to. I've done mending, visible mending, where you've done like a woven patch, but I didn't want to do a patch in this case. I wanted to try a different technique, and I just didn't get to it. So I'm going to put this on my tickler list for August. So I'm going to do that for August, but I just wanted to highlight it. So I'm going to, that is my mending project for July, not completed. The other thing for July that I did not do, I spun for that was my mending wheel. My other wheel was the wheel of projects and whips that I have. One of them came up macarons. Macarons are a pillow, a little like cross stitch thing that I did, a cross stitch of macarons all in a tower. And I wanted to do something with that. However, with the entire month ahead of me, I still couldn't figure out what to do with it. I'm like, I don't know. Do I want to make it into a little small pillow? If so, where am I going to put it? I don't really like knickknacks. Do I want to make it into do I want to frame it, make it as a picture? Once again, I don't like knickknacks. What am I going to do with it? Do I want to use it as a panel for a bag? And then I think if I use that as a panel for a bag, it's just going to get so dirty and when it's used. So I think the main reason why I didn't use that is just I couldn't decide what to use it on. I just was so filled with indecision. I will show it next time because I still left it on the wheel. So the next time I record, I will show it and I will ask opinions about what they would do, what you would do with it if it was yours. So instead of doing that, I had bought a kit from, I went to a thrift store with my friend who lives up near Lancaster, PA, and we went into a DIY thrift store, meaning when I say DIY, it's not necessarily home improvement, but it's more crafty DIY. So this store, it consisted of yarn and paint projects and stamping projects, and it was just like wonderful, just like everything was there. So I bought a little kit to make a llama, and it was so much fun. So much fun. Yeah. So this little llama has a little blanket. It's embroidered. And I plan to stitch it on here. Yeah. So it's so cute. So that's the end of my projects using the prompts from Angela's YouTube. And just to say a teeny bit more about myself, I've been wanting to do a YouTube video for years, and I just never had the courage. So I am hoping that this turns out okay. If so, I will do a second video and I'll show you other items that I've made in addition to what I've done for Angela's prompts this year, for this month. I will now leave you because I need to learn how to edit this. And my daughter helped me do some video clips that I can add at the end. She's so cute. She put it in a folder and she labeled it B-roll, B-E-E roll, because she knows how much I love bees. And she was able to get some very nice footage for me. So fingers crossed that I will be able to get it edited and uploaded, and I will hopefully have a new one for you shortly. Thank you very much, and I hope all of you enjoy your knitting or crafting or whatever it is that you like best. Thank you.